Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 122. The collapse of the giants are happening right now. And Tesla China is showing some impressive recovery after the China lockdown. And Volkswagen is having some problems. And Apple wants to capture a big piece of the automotive software market. UBS says it's time to be bold. And we might know what the battery size is of the Texas Model Y. And it's looking good. And the EV demand is so big, it's causing a bit of trouble in the private market. And Ford is saying they don't need to advertise for their EVs, they sell themselves. I hope so, because the dealers won't. All this and much more to come on today's episode. Let's start right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
The Tesla Model Y is now starting to pop up everywhere. Tesla has kicked off the 2022 Model Y's customer deliveries from Giga Factory, Texas. So cool. And one of the first customers to receive a Model Y from the Giga Texas shared a video of it with the public. I will leave a link to that video down below. But apparently it says 50D inside the mobile app about this car. Just like back with the first Model S was called 85D, 100D, showing what size batteries was inside. So maybe this is the same with the 50D here inside the app. So if that is the case, they are only using 50 kilowatt hours of Tesla's 4680 cells for the Model Y standard range all-wheel drive and still gets 280 miles of range. So does that mean that the long range with maybe 75 kilowatt hours will get 420 miles of range? No matter what, it is quite the savings for Tesla to use only half the amount of kilowatt hours in their Tesla Model Y standard range all-wheel drive that Ford put into their Mustang Mach-E. And Tesla's 4680 batteries are probably also half the price of what Ford is paying for their batteries. So the saving is just insane for Tesla. Ford just don't have a chance to keep up here. And also the Mach-E Premium does have up to 303 miles of range, but that is not the all-wheel drive as the Model Y is. So the Mach-E all-wheel drive drops down to 270 miles of EPA's range. So the Model Y standard range with the 4680 cells seems to have about half the size of the battery pack, but have about 10 miles more range. That is kind of a big deal, not just for Tesla in savings they will make, but also for us customers. If you only have to charge half the size of a battery pack. So instead of maybe paying $25, you pay $50 for a full battery. No wonder this car is so popular. And since they have started building them in Berlin as well, Tesla can start shipping the Chinese-made ones to other places, and they are popping up all over the place. It has officially been kicked off in both Australia, New Zealand, Singapore and Japan as well. And even though the Model Y is by no means a cheap car, and especially in a country like Australia, it cost over $100,000 in Australia. But even though apparently Tesla took pre-orders in Australia and sold 4,000 units of their new car in just 1.5 hours online. That's just crazy. That is more than $400 million in revenue right there in 1.5 hours. Going to be so interesting to see how many Tesla will be able to produce for the rest of the year and how the ramp will go in both Berlin and Texas. And the trend continues. The overall car market is down, but BEVs are up, and Tesla is still dominating, and Volkswagen might be in a bit of trouble. Europe's biggest auto market, Germany, saw plug-in electric vehicles grab 25.3% share in May 2022. Overall, auto market volume fell 10% year over year and was down by 35% from the 2018-2019 seasonal average. So the trend continues. The automakers is in big decline because the ICE cars are collapsing, combined with the overall car market shrinking. And another trend we see continue is that plug-in hybrids are shrinking as well, and BEVs are growing. But this is not just in Germany. This is pretty much the trend all over the world. In China, in April, for example, the joint venture between SAIC and Volkswagen and GM were both down 52.4% and 57% respectively. The collapse of the giant seems to be happening right now in front of our eyes, but most of the automakers are just like, this is fine. And this also shows us that they are not growing their EV business as fast as the collapse of the ICE car is happening. And we do see that Volkswagen is not able to keep up. They are actually falling a bit behind now. On a global scale, Volkswagen's ID.4 has dropped to become only the 6th best-selling BEV, as Tesla, BYD and Wuling are pulling away. So now the BYD Han and the Dolphin are selling better than the ID.4, and compared to Tesla, there is of course not even a contest, as the Model Y outsells the ID.4 5-1. And Tesla is still, even with all the competition that has come, dominating like never before. If we take out the little shoebox of a car, the Wuling Mini EV, and the 3 hybrids, Tesla's 2 models is almost selling as many units as the rest of the top 20 list combined. So there's still Tesla and everyone else. And April sales numbers were a big contributor to Volkswagen's fall down the list. As in April, the ID.4 dropped quite a bit down the list, even though they did not have a factory in Shanghai that was shut down for the entire month. But they dropped all the way down to place number 16 on the plug-in top 20 list. So it does not seem like Volkswagen is able to keep up their growth, but the Chinese are not slowing down. And BYD will soon supply batteries to Tesla, said Lian Yubu, the company's executive vice president. As he said, BYD respect Tesla and we admire Tesla. We are good friends with Elon Musk and we will soon supply him with batteries. We are friends. So cool to see this partnership between the 2 biggest players in the BEV market that will help them both to grow as fast as possible. But it also shows what a strong position BYD is in when it comes to scale and batteries, because everyone else is battery constrained, but it looks like BYD is only car production constrained. So we will see BYD rise very fast here. It is only a matter of how many cars they will be able to produce. It seems like they actually have the batteries to get to their target of 600,000 BEVs here in 2022. Going to be exciting to see if the Volkswagen Group can actually get some momentum going again and keep up with that. Volkswagen was about 45,000 units behind BYD in Q1, with 99,000 units sold compared to BYD's 144,000 units sold. So BYD only needs to keep up the production they have right now to get close to their goal, and we have seen they're actually growing so far in Q2, so they are on track to hit their target of 600,000 BEVs in 2022. But Volkswagen needs to grow quite a bit and are actually looking like they're shrinking a little bit. So it's going to be a tough one to hit their target of 700,000 BEVs here in 2022. I personally don't think they will be able to hit that target with all the headwinds we are seeing right now. And we have got some production numbers out of China, and again, it's looking pretty good for EV makers like Tesla. But Volkswagen, again, in a bit of trouble. Tesla sold 32,165 China-made vehicles in May, including 22,354 export, according to Chinese Passenger Car Association. Tesla's Shanghai factory produced 33,544 vehicles in May, up 212% from April. So that was very good to see the production ramping up again after the lockdown in April, where Tesla produced only a little over 10,000 units. So things are returning to normal, and I hope we will see some of the big numbers again in June as we saw before the lockdown. And according to Reuters, Tesla are aiming to make more than 71,000 units in June. That would be a new record actually, if they are able to do that, and aims to produce more than 17,000 cars per week from June the 13th. If that's the case, Tesla China will be back to pre-lockdown numbers already this month. Very, very impressive. And that would be a very nice big end of the quarter push they could do in China. And if they can make 17,000 per week from week 24 this year, that would mean that Tesla China will make about 500,000 units for the rest of the year. If they don't ramp up any further, which they plan to do, they are aiming for about 22,000 units per week, so they will no doubt make more than 500,000 cars from that factory for the rest of the year if we don't see any more lockdowns or other delays. Very impressive what they are doing in China. And China's wholesales of new energy vehicles in general reached 421,000 units in May, up 111.5% year over year and up 49.8% from April. So good to see new energy vehicles are up. Tesla is back up from April's lockdown, but unfortunately, again, Volkswagen, they cannot show good numbers in China. Volkswagen China sales in May were down 17% compared to 2021, but at least they are up 29% compared to April 2022. But it really looks like Volkswagen is really struggling at the moment. And BMW is out making some big, bold claims. But let's get it directly from Germany. I have a man in the field, that is Jan from Tesla Fix. Over to you, Jan.
Thanks, Lars. Some of us know that the BMW CEO Zipse stated in the beginning of 2021 that the days of Tesla's dominance of the electric car market are over.
Sorry, Jan. Please continue.
And he regularly states that he does not consider Tesla a premium brand. Now it's the turn of BMW's sales manager Peter Nota. In an interview with Auto News, the senior executive stated, "We will focus on a strong and rapid increase in electric vehicles. Tesla had a unique selling point for quite some time that ended." That's very interesting. The German car automaker estimates to sell 200,000 units of its various electric models this year. But this figure is still far from the 940,000 units that Tesla sold in 2021. In the interview, Nota added, "The i4 is the electric car that customers have come to expect from BMW. It is the ultimate electric driving machine." Dealerships have hundreds of orders, he stated. Oliver Zipse complimented these statements by saying, and I quote, "In Europe you have a growing electric vehicle market for all brands. In the United States there's only one super successful brand. We will take the company to the limit of its production capacity." And he's saying that while it is estimated that Tesla will produce 1.5 to 2 million vehicles this year. 200,000 against 1.5 million doesn't really sound like taking the company to production limits. So the company's official website says, and I quote here, "By 2025, the share of electric cars in total group deliveries is expected to rise to at least 30%. By 2030, at least half of BMW's group's vehicles deliveries worldwide will be fully electric models. In addition, we intend to put 10 million fully electric vehicles on the road over the next 10 years. A very important point to note here is that they are not producing 10 million cars a year, but 10 million cars over the next 10 years in total. I'm not surprised hearing that, because in February this year, BMW CEO Zipse stated, "You can only stop further development of combustion technology if all customers worldwide switch to electric vehicles within 10 years. I'm not making that bet." So they really try to keep the internal combustion engine type vehicles for a long time, as long as they can. Besides that, BMW is throwing bold EV production statements around. All while the German Vehicle Authority, the KBA, confirmed that BMW must recall more than 61,000 cars worldwide due to a software error. This affected the ICE models X3, X4 and X5 from the years 2016 to 2022. The vehicles are recalled into the dealership as BMW is unable to fix these software issues with over-the-air updates. So let's look at software and autonomy for 1 second. BMW's Level 3 campaign will start with the 7 Series full-size sedan, which is due in North America in the second half of 2022. Wait a second, is this right? Isn't this the text of the Mercedes Drive Pilot we did in the bit last week? What? Again? Oh. All right, okay. BMW's Level 3 self-driving system will be limited to highway use in moderate traffic at speeds up to 60 kilometers per hour, which is around 35 miles per hour. Okay, I'm done. No, I can't do it. I can't tell you more. Let's just wrap it up and be done with this segment. So how's the competition forecast? Is the competition coming? We Germans would still say 9. This was Jan from Tesla Fix in Germany. Back to you, Lars.
Thank you so much for that report, Jan. So, big bold claims from BMW, but are the Germans coming for Tesla? The Germans says 9. And Apple had their big event this week, and they showed off a sneak peek of their future Carplay. And it looks really cool. And the one thing I liked the most was it was so customizable. So you can make it look like you want to. But the cars that will be able to use their new user interface with CarPlay will not be announced before later next year. But there are of course as many opinions on Apple's CarPlay as there are human beings. But I would like to give my little take on this, why I think this might be a good thing for the legacy automakers, but why I really don't think Tesla should jump on this one, as many have talked about. Firstly, we have seen the legacy automakers are really not good at software. And as we learned this week, Volkswagen might have some huge trouble with their software once again. Volkswagen's Carrot software division looks like it is collapsing. Even though it was only 2 years ago, Volkswagen invested 6 billion euros into the startup, the future product is mainly producing trouble. The various programs are severely delayed and incompatible with each other, and promised leap in quality have failed to materialize. So a very good showcase in that you cannot just throw money at a software problem or hire 1,000 software engineers and expect them to create awesome software. So Volkswagen is in big trouble here. So Apple could come in here and help some of the automakers like Volkswagen here that just don't have any great software experience in their car. But I really don't think this will be a good thing for BMW or Mercedes or the more luxury segment, because then they will not have anything that sets them apart from all the cheaper models. So if you spend $100,000 on a BMW or $10,000 on a Dacia, you will get pretty much the same software inside your car. And we have to remember that software is going to become one of the biggest things inside your car. Even the cost of making the car study have shown that in the future software will take up as much as 50% of the cost in 2030. And Apple wants to be a big part of that. But even though you can customize your user interface, I still don't like the idea that suddenly your Dacia has the same software as your BMW. That is, in my opinion, going to make BMW less unique, especially as software becomes a bigger and bigger piece of the car experience. And this is also why I think Tesla should not use Apple's CarPlay, even though I am an iPhone user, because if every other car on the road suddenly has Apple CarPlay, well, Tesla will really stand out with their own software. That is great. And you will get someone no one else has. But if you get a BMW, you will get what everyone else has. I have not tried CarPlay myself because I've never had a car that has it. So I'm now talking about things I don't know anything about, but please educate me down in the comments below. But I don't really understand what you get with Apple CarPlay right now that you don't already have with your Tesla. I have Spotify, so I have all the music at my fingertips in my Tesla. It has all my favorite contacts, phone numbers and so on from my iPhone that is connected to. It has all my messages. I can reply to incoming SMS by just using my voice. I can ask my car to call any contacts and it works really well. And I have Google Maps in my car as well. I don't really want Apple Maps in my car. I personally prefer Google Maps even on my iPhone. So what is it CarPlay can do that I can't already do with my Tesla software? Please let me know down below. And what about Android users? I hope all these car companies will make this together with Android as well, or we are going to leave out a very big part of the population, where Tesla does work with both iPhone and Android. And this will of course add a lot of cost to the automaker's software compared to Tesla. And on top of this, it is Tesla decides what and when an over-the-air update should come to your car, not Apple. And we can actually ask Elon on Twitter about new features, and if Elon sees them and think it's a good idea, in a couple of months we will have a new feature in your car. I don't think we will see the same thing with Tim Cook and Apple, and we know Tesla is very good at this. We already have Netflix, Disney Plus, YouTube in our Teslas. So Tesla is controlling everything about the UI experience and updates for the car, also because Tesla makes the software and the hardware. That will probably not be the case with Apple's software, where all the others rely on Apple, and all the other software companies have to work together to make the car work and get updates and so on. So don't think this is a really big advantage for the old guys, other than Apple can help them to actually get a nice user interface. But that will just make them like everyone else and will make Tesla stand out even more in the crowd. I know some people would like to have Apple Carplay in their Tesla, but I really don't think Tesla should do it and become like everyone else. But again, please let me know in the comments below what it is you get with your Apple CarPlay that you don't already have in your Tesla, or that Tesla could give you with an over-the-air update down the road, like Apple Music and so on. Please let me know in the comments below. And let's get our weekly update about the Giga Factories. That means handing it over to Brian from My Tesla Weekend. Take it away, Brian.
Hey Lars and Slap Nation. Well, in Berlin, the parking expansion and rework is moving along at quite a pace. There's also some new pavement around the site, specifically to the east of the building. And there's been some pavement torn up in the northeast by the loading and logistics lot. The 4680 building is, of course, inching along, as it does, and the retention ponds are moving at an appropriate pace for completion by fall. An exciting thing to notice is that the giant storage area to the east of the building here, well, the materials are in a state of constant flux, suggesting that as stuff is brought in, it is being installed and placed inside the buildings. In Texas, well, there's more parking being torn up and reworked. This is likely to continue as asphalt is replaced with concrete. The main parking lot has had more improvements. That's almost done, I suspect. And to the south of the parking area, there was an area we were watching where it was being regraded. Well, now it looks like it might just become a hill. The cathode building is back underway with new footings. That's exciting. And the concrete reclamation next to the Martin Marietta plant is moving along nicely. This is something I believe they were required to do. But in any case, the material is ground up and reused in new concrete, or in other cases, as a layer of fill. The VOC retention pond has been almost graded back to level. This is where the expanded electrical switchyard will be located. On the other side of the highway, also in the storage area, we can see a similar situation as to Berlin, where items are being cleared up, tidied up. Yes, they're being used in the building itself. And the rooftop solar, well, the A in Tesla has emerged, and it is moving forward fairly quickly. This is still going to be a long process. Back to you, Lars.
Thank you so much for that update, Brian. See you next week. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this new show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. And Tesla has announced a 3-to-1 stock split. The primary purpose of the authorized share amendment is to facilitate a 3-to-1 stock split of our common stock in the form of a stock dividend, not a cash dividend, just to be clear. Tesla said it believes a stock split would help reset the market price of our common stock so that our employees will have more flexibility in managing their equity, all of which, in our view, may help maximize stock value. Remember, all employees get stock as a discount when they are hired. In addition, Tesla writes, as retail investors have expressed a high level of interest in investing in our stock, we believe the stock split will also make our common stock more accessible to our retail shareholders. And if you want to dive more into the announcement and the filing from Tesla, Rob Maurer from Tesla Daily made a whole video about this, so definitely go check that one out. UBS upgrades Tesla to buy. They see more than 50% upside for the electric vehicle stock, and they are actually talking about mining, full self-driving, and humanoid robots, and much more. Really sound like Wall Street is actually starting to wake up and starting to believe Tesla will be able to execute on many of their targets. They are still very conservative long-term in my opinion, but UBS says operational outlook is stronger than ever. Can't disagree with that, but nothing new here other than it is actually coming from Wall Street.
I think the headline says it all. Time to be bold. But yeah, I mean, Tesla is just doing better than everybody. It is a little aggravating because everybody else is really trying hard, but Tesla's just way ahead.
And Kia is saying there is another big problem with EV demand, and that is that people are buying the EVs just to sell them again because the demand is so big, but the supply is so small in countries like Australia that people can make good money on just buying them and selling them again straight away, as they say. We've heard stories about people buying a car again on the East Coast in Sydney Metro, and they turn up in West Australia with a premium of $8,000 to $10,000 on them. So there seems to be a customer flipping exercise, Kia said. So the customers are starting to play dealers here because the demand for EVs far outpaces the supply, as I talked about last week. And the move by BYD that announced a full shift to new energy vehicles a few months ago is no doubt accelerating more car companies to make similar moves in China. Hebei Changqian Auto, a Chinese heavy truck maker with more than 70 years of auto motoring history, announced Sunday last week that it is officially discontinuing production of pure internal combustion engine vehicles. Oh yes, China is pushing hard, and the shift in the world's biggest car market is happening very fast. And we had a man and woman in Florida crash into a FedEx truck doing a sex act. Yeah, Tesla's autopilot will never do that. Just saying. And Tesla just put up its 35,000 superchargers in the same week as I made a video about the charging network. Nice timing. If you haven't seen that one yet, I will leave a link down below. And if you're wondering why Ford was talking about going 100% online with sales of EVs last week, well, here's a good example of why they have to. As we saw this week, Ford dealers doubled the price of the F-150 Lightning with a $69,000 market adjustment price. Are you kidding me? So the $70,000 EV sells for $140,000. Not very competitive. Ford, if you want to sell the F-150 Lightning in the future, as more competition comes to the electric pickup market, you better get started with the online sales sooner rather than later, if the dealership shall not take you down with them. And Alex shared a picture on Twitter about a pretty cool new Tesla SC launch in NC, Germany. That looks very nice. And already next year, the Swedish car race STCC will be the world's first all-electric national championship, out with the petrol and in with the by far stronger and the fastest cars in the STC's history. And the first car they will build is, of course, Teslas. Which other brands will join is not yet official, but very cool to see racing also converting to electric cars. And everything will be much easier when everything is electric. Just look at this picture. Both engines with 230 horsepower. Choose wisely. Indeed. That some people still don't get that, of course, EVs will be much cheaper in the future. It is just new technology, and battery technology is dropping in price. But just look at the difference here in materials and parts here, just in the engines. Crazy. And Ed Howard shared a render of how the Tesla Dyna could look like with drive-in theater and Tesla superchargers and so on. And he put in 20 Easter eggs to be found in the rendering if you know Elon's world. I will leave a link to Ed's cool rendering down below. And Homer's Catalog tweeted, a 2022 Toyota Camry cost as much as a Tesla Model 3. Not after fuel savings, but before fuel savings. Man, who is ever gonna buy that? And Troy Tesla shared a chart of the wait time for Tesla's vehicles, and even though Tesla is ramping up production and grew its deliveries last quarter with 67%, and Tesla has been raising its prices through the last year, their wait time is still going up. Yep, the demand problem is real. Tesla cannot keep up with the insane demand. But as I talked about many times, EV makers will sell every EV they make because the demand for EVs far exceeds the supply. EVs sell themselves. If your EV don't suck, of course, and Ford just confirmed this. At a recent conference, Ford CEO Jim Farley told viewers that they already don't do any EV advertising, just like Tesla. They initially advertised for the Ford Mustang Mach-E, but it was not long before every vehicle the company could make for 2 years sold out completely. With that kind of backlog, they didn't have any logical reason to spend anything more on advertising. Then, when the Ford F-150 Lightning came out, they decided not to advertise at all, and sales, as we know, are still great. And Jim Farley also shared this article by Inside EVs about how the Ford F-150 Lightning comes with an adapter to charge a Tesla. Jim assured us they are not trolling Tesla, just being helpful. Still pretty funny though. And Tesla showed off its strength of the car as a huge tree fell on a Tesla Model 3, but no harm to the passenger. And history was made in Europe this week as the EU Parliament approved a ban of new fossil fuel cars by 2035, even with the German car lobbyist that has thrown hundreds of millions of dollars to prevent this. But they lost. Some are worrying about the EVs not being cheap as ICE cars by then, but don't worry, they will be much cheaper already mid this decade. And in 2035, there will not be many left that will actually want to buy ICE cars anymore. And the EV range and charging speed will be much better than it already is today. No need to worry about all this. And I still believe this will happen much faster. But maybe this will wake up someone like BMW that still thinks they will be making ICE cars for the next 30 years. Good luck, BMW. And before we end off with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my news patrons and members of this new show. My thank you for watching members Ben Ricardson, Sam S, and Mark Manning. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this new show. Thank you. Couldn't do it without you. But a big and special thanks to Supporter of the Week, and this week's winner is Ben Campbell. Ben has been a Be Nice and You Are member of mine for over 20 months. Thank you so much for all your support, Ben. Much appreciated. Please contact me on this email down below so I can send you your free t-shirt or mug of your choice. And let's end off with a bit of fun. And remember, always keep your eye on the ball. That is all we have time for in this new show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help out this video a lot. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support. And if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel and get your shout out on this show. You can also become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out and some extra perks. Hit the members button to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I tweet all the news as it comes out and more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. Now it's also possible to support the show without buying anything, becoming a member or a patron. There is a link to a donation options in the show notes. And also as simple as hitting the super like button. But going forward, I will be making more videos for patrons and members only. And I will give my YouTube members and patrons early access to my videos whenever possible and make my videos ads free for members and patrons only. So don't miss out. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.